19 of the fantasy baseball season, and the season flying by here with a few weeks left before the playoffs in fantasy leagues. The first hitter I looked at this week's Albert Pujols of the St. Louis Cardinals. So Pujols turning back the clock over the last couple weeks here for this Cardinal team, and he's actually got some fantasy value, even though we know we don't play every day. On the season, 13 home runs, 37 RBIs, a stolen base, 25 runs scored, a 269 average, and a 345 on base. And over the last couple weeks here, Pujols, you can't get him out. 6 home runs, 13 RBIs, 7 runs scored, 538 average, and a 571 on base. Obviously, Albert's not going to stay that hot here, but he's on a home run tear right now and finding the sweet spot for this Cardinal team. The last few games here for Pujols: August 12th versus the Brewers, 1-4. August 13th versus the Brewers, 0-1. August 14th versus the Brewers, 2-4, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. August 16th versus the Rockies, 1-2. August 18th versus the Rockies, 2-3 with a homer, 5 RBIs. August 19th at Arizona, 0-3. August 20th at Arizona, 4-4 with 2 homers in that one. And August 21st at Arizona, 1-1. So right now, almost getting an everyday opportunity, playing 4 or 5 days a week is Pujols. And obviously the DH helps, and the good hitters in the St. Louis Cardinal lineup: Arenado, Goldschmidt, this kid Nootbaar, he's come out of nowhere, Carlson, Tyrone Neal. So they got some good offense over here, is this Cardinal team. And Pujols right now, he's starting to find it towards the end of the season. And right now, more in deeper leagues, I would give him an ad, but he's available in tons of fantasy leagues, is Pujols. Still in 87% of leagues. The next guy's his teammate, like I mentioned, Lars Nootbaar, the St. Louis Cardinals. So Nootbaar, one of the hottest pickups this week here in fantasy baseball, but still available in 91% of leagues. On the season, 7 home runs, 27 RBIs, 34 runs scored, 3 stolen bases, a 242 average, and a 357 on base. So right now, Nootbaar's getting an everyday opportunity over the last month of the season here, and he's taking advantage of it for the St. Louis Cardinal team. The last few weeks here for him: 2 homers, 8 RBIs, 14 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, 297 average, and a 471 on base. So right now he's batting first or ninth usually for this Cardinal team. He's got good speed. He's going to help him run scored. He's showing some pop as well when he's driving in runs, which is surprising, even though I know this Cardinal team just versed some weak teams like the Colorado Rockies and obviously the Arizona Diamondbacks. August 16th versus the Rockies, 0-3. August 17th versus the Rockies, 0-2 with 2 runs. August 18th versus the Rockies, 2-3 with a homer, 2 RBIs, 3 runs scored. August 19th at Arizona, 0-3 with a run. August 20th at Arizona, 3-3, 3 runs, 3 RBIs. And August 21st at Arizona, 1-3 with a homer and 2 runs scored. So Nootbaar playing great baseball for this Cardinal team. They got more easy matchups coming up at the Chicago Cubs, even though we know it's a division rival over there in the NL Central. But this guy's definitely getting things going, and he's going to be a nice pickup this week. I would look to add him. The next guy is Manuel Margot of the Tampa Bay Rays. So an up-and-down type of season here for Margot. And we know what he's been capable of in the past with the Padres and the Rays last season. On the season, he had 3 home runs, 27 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, 21 runs scored, a 301 average, and a 363 on base. So he just came back a couple days ago here, is Margot. Right now available in 84% of fantasy leagues. So if you need a guy who's going to get on base, who's going to hit for good average and score runs, he'll help you in those categories. But he's not really showing power this season. Obviously not driving in runs as well at the top of the lineup here in Tampa Bay. But he can help in stolen bases as well. So the last couple games back for him: August 20th versus the Royals, 1-4. And August 21st versus Kansas City, 0-4. So right now he's going to get going in a couple weeks probably here. But right now you want to take a quick shot at him in more deeper leagues to get him on your roster, because once he gets going, he can help in 4 or 5 categories and could be a good factor for fantasy owners down the stretch run here. The next guy is Luis Renfingo of the Los Angeles Angels. So the Angels, another lost season for them, and they're trying to find some players here could help their roster for years to come. And Renfingo, very versatile player, especially for fantasy. 2nd, 3rd, short, and outfield he qualifies for. So on the season here, 9 home runs, 34 RBIs, 30 runs scored, 5 stolen bases, a 272 average, and a 307 on base. But over the last month here for Rigfo, 4 home runs, 19 RBIs, 12 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, a 296 average, and a 319 on base. So his on-base to batting average ratio isn't all that great. He's an early swinger in the count, but with his versatility and what he can help fantasy owners with, he's showing some power actually. Runs scored, he's going to help. Batting average, pretty decent. And he'll steal some bases here from time to time. But the versatility is amazing, obviously. Just not qualifying to catcher in first, but 4 other positions. And he's available right now in a bunch of fantasy leagues still. It's 63%. The last few games here for him, August 15th versus the Mariners, 1 for 4 with a homer. August 16th versus the Mariners, 2 for 4 with a homer, 2 RBIs. August 17th versus the Mariners, 1 for 4 with a rib. August 19th at Detroit, 0 for 4. August 20th at Detroit, 2 for 4 run and a rib. And August 21st at Detroit, 0 for 4. So right now, playing solid baseball, hitting the baseball, getting on base, and even showing some pop here for a guy who's not known for his power. And he's worth an ad this week here, especially with his versatility. Next guy's Christian Arroyo of the Boston Red Sox. So Arroyo, he's bounced around over the last few seasons between the minors and the majors, and he's had some injury problems as well. But another player who qualifies at 4 positions, second, third, short, and outfield for fantasy owners. So right now we know the Red Sox are pretty much out of it and done this season here, unless they go on a tear over the next month and a half of the season. So Arroyo on the year, 5 home runs, 22 RBIs, 24 runs scored, 3 stolen bases, a 291 average, and a 335 on base. Over the last couple weeks here for him, a homer, 9 RBIs, 6 runs scored, 354 average, and a 380 on base. But to dig even deeper into the stats, over the last month of the season, 1 home run, 9 RBIs, 10 runs scored, a 397 average, and a 429 on base. So right now, pretty much you're going to get Arroyo on your team because of his versatility qualifying in 4 positions in fantasy baseball and what he could do hitting the baseball for average and on-base percentage. So those 3 categories is pretty much what he's going to do. August 16th at Pittsburgh, 1 for 4 with a rib. August 17th at Pittsburgh, 3 for 5 with a run and 3 RBIs. August 18th at Pittsburgh, 0 for 4. August 19th at Baltimore, 3 for 5, 2 runs and a rib. August 20th at Baltimore, 3 for 5 with a rib. And August 21st at Baltimore, in that one, 1 for 4. So right here, playing good baseball is Arroyo, getting an everyday opportunity, hitting either 5th or 6th for the most part for this Boston Red Sox team. And he's playing good here. So if you need some batting average and a guy's going to get some hits and help you and not strike out a lot and get on base, Arroyo's definitely worth an ad this week. The next guy's Andrew McCutchen of the Milwaukee Brewers. So McCutchen, he's getting it going now all of a sudden after he got off to a slow start the first few months of the season. On the season here for Kutch, 14 home runs, 56 RBIs, 58 runs scored, 8 stolen bases, which is a little bit surprising. A 250 average and a 320 on base. So right here, McCutchen, the batting average is up a little bit from last season to this season. On base, pretty decent this year as well. And the home runs, I know he hit 27 last year. This year, only 14. But he's stealing bases as well. So right now, McCutchen available in 58% of fantasy leagues. And if you need a guy with some power and who can help you steal some bags, I think he's a decent ad this week. And he bats third or fourth in the middle of this Brew Crew lineup. August 15th versus the Dodgers, 0 for 4. August 16th versus the Dodgers, 0 for 4 with a run. August 18th versus the Dodgers, 2 for 4, 2 homers, 3 RBIs, 3 runs scored. August 19th at Chicago, a homer, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. August 20th at the Cubs, 0 for 5 with a run and an RBI. And August 21st at the Cubs, 1 for 4. So right now, he's showing some power. He's getting some hits here, is McCutchen as well. And he's a guy we know could get hot at any time, even though he's up there in age now and has been around a long time. He's still a guy you could count on as your third outfield or utility hitter, is McCutchen. And he definitely can help fantasy owners. The next guy's Jake Fraley of the Cincinnati Reds. To talk about a player on a power streak and on fire. Jake Fraley's definitely getting the job done. And we've seen flashes from him a few years ago with the Seattle Mariners doing this stuff on the season here for Fraley. 7 home runs, 17 RBIs, 21 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, 247 batting average, and a 328 on base. So Fraley, he's come up over the last month of the season only, really, for this Cincinnati Red team. And he's tearing it up, like I mentioned. 6 home runs, 14 RBIs, 16 runs scored, a 348 batting average, and a 407 on base. So right now available in tons of fantasy leagues at 92%. And he's getting an everyday opportunity for this Red team. This Red team obviously going nowhere. But Fraley, he's been a big mainstay right now for this team. And a guy maybe for the future that they could have on this roster and start almost every day. So the last few games here for him, August 15th versus Philly, 1 for 4 with a homer. August 16th versus Philly, 2 for 4, a homer, 2 RBIs. August 17th versus Philly, 0 for 4. August 19th at the Pittsburgh, 0 for 4 with a run. August 20th at Pittsburgh, 1 for 4, a homer, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. And August 21st at Pittsburgh, 2 for 2, a homer, 3 RBIs, a stolen base, 4 runs scored. So right now he's hitting the cover off the ball. He's got 4 home runs in the last week here, Fraley. And he's definitely a guy that we know has had power throughout his career in the small sample size in the majors. So right now, if you need some power and possibly some stolen bases as well, Fraley's definitely a player I would look to go out there and add. And like I mentioned, 92% of leagues he's out there. The next guy, Jake McCarthy of the Arizona Diamondbacks. So the Diamondbacks, just like the Reds, a team going nowhere this season and one of the worst teams in the major leagues. But right here, playing some young guys to see what they got with them. So McCarthy had a cup of coffee last season with the Diamondbacks. He didn't get much done, but this year, 4 home runs, 22 RBIs, 32 runs scored, 9 stolen bases, a 273 average, and a 332 on base, and only 185 at bats. So right here, he's only been up for over a month here, is McCarthy. And in the month, a homer, 13 RBIs, 14 runs scored, 7 stolen bases, a 304 average, and a 366 on base. So right now, available 90% of fantasy leagues here is McCarthy, and he's going to steal bases. He's going to help you win. He's showing some power for this Diamondback team, and he's batting 5th or 8th usually in this lineup here, and he's getting the everyday opportunity. August 16th at the Giants, 1 for 4. August 17th at the Giants, 1 for 1, 2 RBIs. August 18th at the Giants, 3 for 5, a run and an RBI. August 19th versus the Cardinals, 0 for 4. August 20th versus the Cardinals, 1 for 4, a homer in that one. And August 21st versus the Cardinals, 1 for 2 with a run and a rib. So right now, he's going to help you in some categories, is McCarthy. Getting a chance, like I mentioned. And some of these guys, these diamonds in the rough late in the season, can definitely help fantasy owners make the playoffs or even make a deep playoff push and possibly win the whole thing with some of these guys. You could always find guys on the waiver wire as the season goes on. And that's the case with some of these hitters I've mentioned this week. And most of these guys are widely available in tons of fantasy leagues. The next guy is Franmil Reyes of the Chicago Cubs. So Reyes, he was cut by the Guardians a few weeks ago, and the Cubs signed him up, and he's getting pretty much an everyday opportunity with this Cub team and playing way better than he did with the Guardians early in the year. So on the season for Reyes, a down year, 11 home runs, 35 RBIs, 29 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, a 230 average, and a 266 on base. Last season, he did hit 30 home runs, but the Guardians had enough of him and cut him loose. But over the last couple weeks since he's been a Cub, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, 5 runs scored, a 341 average, and a 349 on base. So the free swinging Reyes, so far in the National League, it's been working out for him. Obviously, this is fluky in my opinion, especially once or twice since he's become a Chicago Cub here, is Franmil Reyes. So obviously, that's not going to stay. Batting average isn't going to stay that high here for him, but the power is obviously legit after hitting 30 homers last year. August 16th at Washington, 2 for 5, 2 runs, a homer and RBI. August 17th at Washington, 2 for 4 with a run. August 18th at Baltimore, 2 for 4. August 19th versus Milwaukee, 1 for 4 with a run and a rib. August 20th versus Milwaukee, 0 for 3 with an RBI. And August 21st versus Milwaukee, 1 for 4. So right here, playing great baseball is Reyes so far as a Chicago Cub. I don't know if it's going to hold up, but he's batting 5th in the order. They needed a veteran. They needed some power. And he plays in a great hitter's park, obviously, in Wrigley Field. So right now, available in 48% of fantasy leagues. I would give him a shot this week. And the final hitter I look to add this week's Joey Bart of the San Francisco Giants. A Joey Bart, former top prospect in this Giant system. And it's been a down career so far for him. And on the season for Bart, 10 home runs, 21 RBIs, 26 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, a 228 average, and a 315 on base. But over the last month of the season, he's starting to find his groove maybe. 4 home runs, 9 RBIs, 7 runs scored, a stolen base, a 304 average, and a 333 on base here for Joey Bart. So Bart getting the everyday opportunity. This Giant team hovering around 500, but obviously most likely not going to make the playoffs this season. So they want to see what they got with some of these younger guys and some of the veterans. And Bart's been getting the everyday opportunity anyway the whole season, especially with Buster Posey retiring before the season started. So August 15th versus Arizona, 3-for-4 run, 2 RBIs. August 16th versus Arizona, 1-for-3. August 18th versus Arizona, 0-for-3. August 19th at the Rockies, 0-for-3 with a rib. August 20th at the Rockies, 1-for-4 with a homer. And August 21st at the Rockies, 0-for-3. So right now, if you need some catching help, more deeper leagues than anything, though, Joey Bart's available right now in 83% of leagues. So that's a few hitters I look to add here for Week 19 of the fantasy baseball season.